The Small Wolf Who Didn't Howl. Once upon a time, deep in a wide and whispering forest, there lived a small wolf named Niro. Niro was the youngest in his pack. He had soft gray fur, bright curious eyes, and the quietest paws anyone had ever seen. While the other wolves ran like wine through the trees, Niro moved carefully, as if he didn't want to disturb the forest. But what made Niro truly different was this. He couldn't howl. Every evening, when the sky turned deep blue and the first stars appeared, the pack would gather on a rocky hill. The leader would lift his head. The others would follow. And together, they would howl, long, strong, and beautiful. Their voices echoed through the valley, across the rivers, and into the distant mountains. It was their way of speaking to the world. Their way of saying, "We are here." Niro tried. He really did. He would lift his head, take a deep breath, and only a small, broken sound would come out. Not a howl. Not even close. Just a quiet, uncertain R. The other wolves never laughed at him. But they didn't understand. "You just need to try harder," said one. "Breathe deeper," said another. "It will come," said the leader kindly. But it never did. So Niro stopped trying. Instead, he would sit quietly at the edge of the hill, watching the stars while the others sang to the night. He felt small, smaller than the smallest leaf. One night, after the howling ended, Niro wandered away from the pack. He followed a narrow path through the trees, guided only by moonlight. The forest at night was full of sounds. Owls calling softly, leaves rustling, branches creaking. Niro listened carefully. He always listened. And that's when he noticed something strange. The forest sounded uneven, like a song missing its rhythm. He tilted his head. "What's wrong?" he whispered. The forest did not answer, but the feeling stayed with him. The next day, the pack went hunting. Niro followed, but as usual, he stayed behind the others. Not because he was slow, because he was careful. While the others focused on the chase, Niro noticed things. A broken branch that didn't belong. A trail that ended too suddenly. A bird that flew in the wrong direction. The forest felt confused. When the hunt ended, Niro approached the pack leader. "Something is wrong," he said quietly. The leader looked at him. "What do you mean?" "The forest," Niro said. "It feels lost." The leader smiled gently. "The forest is always changing, little one." But Niro wasn't sure. This felt different. That night, Niro couldn't sleep. The strange feeling pulled at him like a soft but steady tug. So he got up, quietly, carefully, and followed it. The path led him deeper than he had ever gone before. Past the old fallen tree, past the moss-covered stones, past even the silent pond that reflected the stars. The forest grew darker, but Niro wasn't afraid. He listened, and listening guided him. At last, he reached a clearing. In the center stood a tall, ancient tree. Its trunk was wide and twisted, its branches stretching high into the sky. But something was wrong. The tree was dim. Not dead, but dim, as if its light had faded. Niro stepped closer. "What happened to you?" he asked. A soft voice answered. "I have forgotten the song." Niro jumped back. "Who said that?" "I did," said the tree. Niro stared. "Trees don't talk." "This one does," the tree replied gently. Niro approached slowly. "What song?" he asked. "The song of the forest," the tree said. the rhythm that keeps everything in balance. Nero's ears lowered. Is that why everything feels strange? Yes, said the tree. The song has faded. And without it, the forest is losing its way. Nero thought about the uneven sounds. The confusion. Can you remember it? He asked. I am trying, the tree said. But I cannot hear it clearly anymore. Nero hesitated, then said something very quiet. I'm good at listening. The tree was silent for a moment. Then perhaps, it said softly, you are the one who can find it. Me? Nero blinked. I can't even howl. The tree's branches rustled gently. Maybe you are not meant to howl. Nero's heart skipped. What do you mean? Not all voices are loud, said the tree. Some are meant to listen. And through listening, to understand. Nero looked down. No one had ever said something like that to him before. How do I find the song? He asked. The tree's voice was calm. You must listen to the forest. All of it. Not just the loud parts. Not just the obvious ones. Nero nodded slowly. I can do that. And so, his journey began. Nero walked through the forest like he always had. But this time, he listened differently. He didn't just hear sounds. He paid attention to them. He listened to the river. It flowed, but its rhythm was uneven. Too fast in some places, too slow in others. He listened to the wind. It moved through the trees, but its whisper felt uncertain, like it didn't know where to go. He listened to the animals. The bird songs didn't match each other. The insects buzzed without harmony. Everything was slightly off. Nero closed his eyes. What should it sound like? He whispered. For a long time, there was no answer. Then, a faint sound. Very faint. Almost impossible to hear. A soft, steady rhythm. Like a heartbeat. Nero's ears perked. He followed the sound. Step by step. Careful. Quiet. The rhythm led him to a small cave hidden beneath thick roots. Inside, it was dark. But the sound was stronger here. Steady. Gentle. Alive. Nero stepped inside. And there, in the center of the cave, was something glowing faintly. A small stone. Pulsing softly. Like a heart. What are you? Nero whispered. I am the heart of the forest song. The stone replied. Nero's breath caught. Then why is everything wrong? The stone flickered weakly. I was moved. Moved? Nero asked. Taken from where I belonged. The stone said. And without my place, the song cannot flow. Where do you belong? Nero asked. At the roots of the ancient tree. The stone replied. Nero's eyes widened. I know that tree. Then you must take me back, the stone said. Nero hesitated. I'm just a small wolf. You are the one who listened, the stone said. And that is why you can do it. So Nero carefully picked up the glowing stone. It was warm, steady, alive. The journey back felt longer. Not because the path had changed, but because now Nero understood what was at stake. As he walked, the forest seemed to watch him. The wind quieted. The birds paused. Even the river softened. When he reached the clearing, the ancient tree stood waiting. You found it, the tree said. Nero nodded. I think so. Place it at my roots, the tree said. Nero stepped forward. His paws trembled slightly. Not from fear. From importance. He placed the glowing stone at the base of the tree. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, A soft vibration spread through the ground. The stone glowed brighter. The trees shimmered. And a sound began. Not loud. Not strong. But clear. A steady, perfect rhythm. The wind joined it. The leaves followed. The river adjusted. The birds sang. The forest remembered. Niro stepped back, eyes wide. "It's working," he whispered. The tree's voice was warm. "You have returned the song." The rhythm grew stronger. Not overwhelming. Just right. Niro felt something inside him shift. Not magic. Not power. Something else. Understanding. That night, Niro returned to his pack. They were gathered on the hill. The sky was full of stars. The leader looked at him. "Where have you been?" he asked. "Listening," Niro said. The leader nodded. "It is time to howl." The pack lifted their heads. Voices rose into the night. Strong. Clear. Beautiful. Niro hesitated. Then, he listened. For the first time, he didn't try to make his own sound. He listened to theirs. To the rhythm. To the flow. And then, very softly, he joined. Not with a loud howl. Not with a perfect one. But with something new. A quiet, steady tone. It wasn't the strongest voice. But it fit. Perfectly. The other wolves didn't stop. But something changed. Their howling became richer. Fuller. Balanced. When it ended, the leader looked at Niro. "You found your voice," he said. Niro smiled. "Not exactly," he said. "I found how to listen." From that night on, Niro still didn't howl like the others. But he didn't need to. Because when the pack howled, and the forest answered, and the wind carried the sound across the valley, there was always something beneath it. Something steady. Something guiding. A quiet rhythm. And if you ever walk through a forest at night, and you hear wolves howling beneath a sky full of stars, listen closely. Beneath the loud voices, you might hear something softer. Something that keeps everything together. The sound of a small wolf, who learned that not all voices need to be loud to be heard. The end.